I hereby summon all my imps. Hey everybody, it's Annabelle. I just wanted to kind of end off the year with just kind of another chill, kind of quiet stream. And one of the things that I kind of wanted to talk about is the use of heroes in Marvel Snap. And I know that sounds like a really weird subject to talk about. But there are certain heroes in Marvel Snap that I think can be used better, stronger, faster, whatever you want to say. I mean, like, here's Devil Dinosaur. And either I didn't read enough Marvel growing up, or I didn't know enough about Marvel growing up. But I have no idea who Devil Dinosaur is. And I don't mean I don't know who Devil Dinosaur. I know it's a 5 mana, 3 energy that gets +2 power for each card in your hand. But in the Marvel Universe, I have no idea who Devil Dinosaur is. But in this game, it's a ridiculously strong card. Whereas you take something like Deadpool, which is a well-known character in Marvel, and in the game, it really doesn't play out that well. I mean, it's a good card, but it's not a broken card. It's not everywhere in the meta. I mean, here's Hawkeye, one of the Avengers that is known in the Avengers series. And I rarely see his play. You know, but Jessica Jones, who, again, I'm not exactly sure who is, sees play. I mean, there's some that make sense, like, you know, Claw, which, you know, is a pretty well-known character, and, you know, it's an ongoing effect, and the way this card is designed, that the rightmost location, or the location to the right of this, has +6 power. You know, that sort of makes sense for Claw, although with this particular Claw and the way it would be set up, if I'm looking at this correctly, this would be the the location to the left of this, because his claw is over here on the left. Not over here on the right. And I mean, you got certain cards that just don't make a lick of sense, like... Let me see if I can follow real quick. Lizard. Why in the universe does he get -3 power if your opponent has 4 cards in this location? Does he get scared and, you know, drop his tail or something like that? I mean, you could have almost had him the opposite way, that he gets +3 power if there are 4 cards here, and you could have had him start off as being the, human version of him, and then turn into the lizard, of being Doc Connors, then actually turn into the lizard when he gets enough, you know, minions against him, so he gets scared. And the reason is because, you know, Doc Connors is actually missing an arm. That's the whole reason he tried to become the lizard. You know, there are certain ones that, you know, just, I have no idea who they are. I mean, do you know who Wave is? I mean, I'm sure there's somebody out there who knows who Wave is, but I have no idea who Wave is, but I know she's a powerful card. And then, like, Wolverine, you know, one of the most known X-Men in the world. and rarely sees any kind of play. You know, the poster child for this is basically way up here with the, where are you? The Cyclops, leader of the X-Men, and he's just a 3/4. You know, and there's a part of me that's kind of glad that they went this route, that they're saying that, hey, here's a character that can be a very known character like Beast, and it's not played very heavily. And then you can have a character who's not very well known, like Arrow, who sees play all the time. You know, but there's also something kind of weird about the fact that you'll see Black Panther played less often than you'll see Arnim Zola. And there's nothing wrong with, you know, Black Panther being seen to play less than Arnim Zola. It just seems weird that you have a character that's kind of known, and it gets more affected than a character that's not known. You know, some of the cards like Black Bolt, you know, why is it the lowest card? It should be the highest card. He should, you know, his thing is that his voice is so loud that he can destroy people with just a whisper. But why is it the lowest card getting rid of the weakest card? It should be getting rid of the strongest card. You know, some of them don't make, I don't even know who they are. Like, I've never heard of Crystal before in my life. Has anyone ever seen this card kind of play in any way, shape, or form? You know, it's just, maybe I'm just not as big of a Marvel fan as I thought I was. And it kind of upsets me that, like, certain cards just don't get the representation that they need. You know, Jubilee is, you know, play a card from your deck at this location. Oh no, I mean, that's the thing. Like, some of them I've heard of before. But have you ever heard of Leech? Like, does anybody know who Leech is? You know, am I just that low on the totem pole of Marvel characters? And some of them are getting really into the, you know, dredges of even Marvel characters. Black Bolt I knew. Black Bolt's one of the few that I actually knew before this. His power is the fact that his voice is so destructive that he can basically, I think he says he can kill a man by just a whisper. But it's kind of weird when you talk about Black Bolt in this particular game. Because if you look at Black Bolt, he gets rid of the lowest character. And if he's that particularly strong, he should get rid of the highest character. It would be the same basic concept. But, you know, to have him come out and give a deadly scream and just lose like maybe a 1/1 out of your deck does not feel like Black Bolt. And again, it's the fact that there's a part of me that's proud of Marvel Snap about giving Devil Dinosaur such a known place in here, because I never heard of Devil Dinosaur. But he's one of the most played cards in Marvel Snap right now. And there's something to be said about Marvel Snap basically sitting there going, yeah, here's a character that nobody heard of, but we're willing to make them strong. And then you have a character like Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is one of the most known characters kind of out there. You know, maybe not one of the most known characters out there, but kind of up there. And he's really, you know, doesn't have that strong of a power. It's not a bad power, don't get me wrong, but it's not that strong of a power. It makes sense to him thematically, even. But it's not that strong of a power. Let me see here. Let me get one of them up here. Hang on. Where is he? I have him in alphabetical order. I still can't do this right. Where are you? You are. I kind of love that obscure characters are important and meta because they are super important characters in the Marvel Universe and that no one ever heard of. Oh yeah, it's kind of interesting, but it also kind of gets, you know, weirdly annoying at times because here's Star-Lord, you know. He has basically made, you know, almost Marvel have a new renaissance with their videos, with their movies, I should say. And he is not, you know, the whole idea of him getting +3 power when he's revealed really is not, you know, big, and it's not like even super thematic to him. I don't know what else you'd do to him to make him better, and I'm not saying that I have better ideas for some of these. But like, here's Zero. Zero, I have no idea who is. And Zero is kind of one of the most played cards that was out there. You know, again, it just kind of feels weird that certain characters don't get the light that they need. And again, there's going to be more characters that come out in the future. And you can't have every character be a Loki or a Devastator, or, you know, you need some of your Dazzlers, you need some of your, you know, low tier cards. And even cards that I thought would be joke tier cards out there, I've thought about them longer and harder, and some of them make more sense as time goes by. You know, at one point I was talking to somebody on here, and we were kind of asking, like, what are some of the cards that you might see in the future, and we were kind of joking around, and they said Matter Eater Lad. And I was kind of sitting there, and I was going, you know, as bad of a joke as you could see Matter Lad being, I also thought of a cool way that you could do it. Imagine if you made Matter Eater Lad and he destroyed all the rocks on the board and got +1 power for each rock he destroyed. You know, you combine him with debris and he starts to be a good card. You know, you could have a card like Spike, who's like a lesser known character in the Marvel Universe. But, you know, Spike could come out and deal and take away 1 energy from every single card by, like, throwing the spikes at him. And again, some of these cards I don't have better options for. Like, I really don't know what you would do with some of these cards. I mean, you know, why does Cosmo really prevent on-reveal abilities? You know, I'm not sure. You know, what would you do to make Cosmo a different card? I'm not sure either. You know, why does Electro make it so you can only play 1 card per turn? The +1 energy actually makes sense for Electro. he's an electric card. But the fact that he has to, so you can only play one card per turn, where does that come from? That's not part of his abilities. Oh yeah, there's some cards that make sense. Like for example, Death. Death gets less cost for the more things that die. If you ever get Death's Domain, anything that's played on Death's Domain dies. That makes perfect sense. But you also have other cards that just don't really make sense in any way, shape, or form. Why does Electra only destroy 1-drops? If Electra's effect was on reveal, destroy a random enemy card at this location, it would basically do the same thing. But, why does she only destroy 1-drops? Electra's known as being one of the best assassins out there. So why is she only killing little stuff? Yeah, some cards make sense when they're put together. I get it. You have to know how Thor and Jane Foster work together. Jane Foster gets Mjolnir for Thor. That's basically the combo. Miles Morales' Spider-Man becomes cheaper when he moves because he moved to New York. I'm not saying there's not synergy in here. Even stuff like Mysterio, the fact that he makes clones of himself, he makes illusions. That makes perfect sense for him. But why does Namor get +5 power when he's the only card there? And again, Namor is kind of like, how do I say this correctly? Because I'm going to get some hate for this, but I'm going to try and say this the best way ever possible. He's like a level maybe 2 character. He's not known for fighting by himself. It's the theme in the series, but Namor isn't known for fighting by himself. And Nakia, give your 2 leftmost cards and +2 power. I mean, the idea is that she's throwing her shurikens at them, maybe, I guess. But here's one here. Here's Nick Fury. Nick Fury, the leader of S.H.I.E.L.D., one of the creators of the Avengers himself. He gives you 3 random 6-cost cards. That makes basically perfect sense for him. He's gaining a team together. He's got pretty high power for his costs. 5 energy, 7 costs. Would be pretty up there in the cost for energy level. And even Psylocke makes sense on her because she's a time traveler. She's gaining you this 1 energy from the future. I mean, some of the lower characters I do know. I'm not saying that I'm not completely, I'm versed in some of the stuff from Marvel, but I have no idea who Crossbones is. Yes, the S.H.I.E.L.D. cards are about assembling a team. That's the whole thing about all the S.H.I.E.L.D. cards. Agent 13 puts a card in your hand because of the fact that she's helping, create a team. Agent Coulson puts a card in here because he's trying to make a team. Crossbones is in the MCU. If you've seen any played by Frank Grillo. I'm aware that everybody in Marvel Snap is in the MCU. I just don't know who Crossbones is. Like, what's his... I can tell that he's supposed to be kind of a Punisher, a vigilante kind of character. I can tell that just from how his card's supposed to play. But I don't know who he is. And I'm sure somebody out there, their favorite character in the MCU is Crossbones. I'm not going to try to deny that fact. You know, there's somebody out there whose favorite character is Debris. And, you know, Debris making rocks makes sense. Her name is Debris. She puts debris out there, or she has power to do debris. I can just tell that from her card. But, like, why does Ebony Maw make it so that you can't play any other cards here? You know, some of them just, you know, don't make sense. Again, I don't know what else you could do for Ebony Maw. And it's, again, just more of the thing is where it's like,
I mean, here's Hellcow.
sorry, hang on, let me do that again. Here's Hellcow, and, you know, who's ever heard of Hellcow before? The general sense is that heroic cards have positive effects. Villainous cards are more powerful, but they have a downside or restrictions, okay? Yeah, but, you know, Hobgoblin really doesn't have a downside. You know, what's the downside of Hobgoblin? You know, the only downside that you can basically get off of Hobgoblin is if you play it against somebody who has their entire field already filled. You know. Again, I'm not saying that, you know, this is particularly bad. Yeah, if you get, there's times where the other opponent's side is full, or they have a Cosmo. You know, but there are bad guys who have decently good powers, and there are good guys who have decently bad powers. And then there's cards that fall in between. Like, technically, Ghost Rider is neither good nor evil. He's neither. He's basically a vigilante. You know. Let me see if some other bad guys. Like Punisher, he's technically not good or evil. He's a merc for hire. You know, he won't be hired by you if you're completely evil, but he's been known to do some bad stuff. And like, take Scorpion. He's known as being one of the more evil characters. But what's really his downside? You know, he makes your opponent's stuff to, one less. I think Punisher is a well-designed card. He motivates their revenge, so he gets stronger when there are more cards opposing him. It's just kind of weird to see some of these cards come around. I must not know as much about Marvel as everybody else does. You know, some of these cards just don't make sense to me. And there's nothing wrong with some of them not making sense to me. But it's kind of weird that just some of them just don't have the correct flavor to them. Like, I'm trying to figure out what's the flavor behind the Wizard. Like, why does he lose the 3 power when the other side gets filled? Other than the fact that you could say that's his downside for being a bad guy. Then, like, the leader. He's one of the worst guys out there, theoretically speaking. And he really doesn't have a downside. Yeah, but if he actually did that in the thing, that would make sense. If he turned back into Curt Connors when there was too many people, but it would almost make more sense that if he got scared or if there's too many people, that's when he would turn into the Lizard. If he started out as Doc Connors and the board got filled, then he would turn into the Lizard. Because there's so many people that he finally has to give up and, you know. Or if you saw him turn into Doc Connors, that'd be kind of neat. Like when they finally placed down the 4th card, and if he turned back into Doc Connors, it would make sense that he would lose 3 power, because he would lose his arm then. And you could easily change that, and that would be fine. It would actually be kind of neat to see that going back and forth. I think it'd be kind of neat if they actually had to turn into Doc Connors at some point. The worst one out there and the biggest criminal in this is still the Cyclops. He really should be a 3/6. I will die on that hill. Him being a 3/6 would make a lot more sense. Let him see a lot more play. He's the leader of the X-Men, one of the strongest mutant sets out there. And there's a lot of mutants that just have weird kind of tags on them. Be throwing your cards back into your hand, that one kind of makes sense. Let's see, who else are mutants? Iceman freezing something makes perfect sense. Jubilee doesn't make the most sense out of the world for her to draw a card out of her deck. She should be more like energy based, because that's what she was kind of known for, is for like doing stuff with energy. Yeah, that's the thing. That's what I'm trying to say. Is, you know, Iceman is more powerful than a 1/2. You know. He's not a low-tier character. You know, Jubilee could have something more to do with energy instead of drawing a card. She's not known for card manipulation. Juggernaut makes perfect sense. Juggernaut moving a character makes perfect sense. Let's see here. Magneto moving cards makes perfect sense. That speaks high volumes to Magneto. Now, if I was to create a Magneto card, that's one of the things that I would think about giving him. Let's see here. Rhino destroying a location makes perfect sense. Rogue stealing somebody's power makes perfect sense. Sentinels making more of themselves makes perfect sense. I know, but a storm flooding out a location makes sense. Sunspot even technically makes sense of how it works. You know, Wasp makes sense with how she works. Wolfsbane, not so much. No, you know. Maybe that's because I don't know as much about how Wolfsbane's supposed to work. But like Wolverine just seems really weak for what he's supposed to be. But actually Venom makes sense. You know, Venom makes sense to destroy things and grow stronger. The only problem is that technically, Carnage is stronger than Venom is. And Carnage has a way weaker power than Venom does. So Venom and Carnage should basically be flip-flopped. Venom should be the one that just gets you the +2 for each card destroyed, and Carnage should be the one that gets stronger for each one that gets destroyed. Like Captain America, you know, I guess he's, being the symbol and like encouraging your team to do better. So, I mean, that can make sense. Like, I don't know who Arrow is. I'm assuming she's an air-based something because of the word Arrow. But, like, why does she move cards? I mean, that's a strong power in a mutagenic Marvel Universe scale where you could just, move people. And I don't know who she is. I know who Black Cat is. And that kind of makes sense for him. Oh yeah, they're good. Here's the thing. As the game goes further, as the game goes longer, you're going to have to dip into some weird characters that nobody's ever heard of. And that's where I originally started all this on, was on Devil Dinosaur. Devil Dinosaur and Moon Girl are just two characters who I never heard of. And it's kind of nice and it's kind of interesting that Marvel is willing to take a character like Devil Dinosaur and make him a very strong character. But, I think that some of these cards need to be re-looked at, gone through, maybe been adjusted. Like if you look at Claw, like I was saying before. If his thing said left instead of right, it would make sense. His claw's on the left side. Where he's standing, it would go to the left location. Not the right location. It just seems like this side over here should be the stronger side, the side that's getting the power. Now, whatever thing you have set up on this side should be getting the power. Now, whatever you have set up on this side should be getting the power. And it would be the same card. You know. But anyways, thank you so much for coming here. I want to say Sambro? Did I say that right, Sambro? I have no idea if I butchered that. Alright. Did I say that Oro? I'm trying to pronounce your name correctly. Okay. I do appreciate you coming, Oro. I always appreciate people coming into my chat and having lively discussions. I do Marvel Snap on Saturdays at 6 if you ever want to watch me play. This was just kind of a neat little chill discussion that I was kind of doing as a laid-back discussion. But I do want to thank you. Oh, my pronouns are she, her. But if you call me he, him, I won't get upset. I've had many times where somebody said like something like, dude, that was an awesome play. But I am transgender, and it is she, her. But I am always welcoming to anybody who shows up to my stream. I wanted to thank you so much for coming by. And as always, remember, play for fun.